Charles spent 30 years building a world for Camilla. Not loudly, not all at once, piece by piece, decision by decision. The gradual, patient, institutionally backed construction of a position, a title, a residence, a portfolio of patronages, an image, a place at the center of the family and the monarchy, all of it given by Charles, all of it dependent on Charles, all of it existing because one man, the King of England, decided it should exist. But Charles is mortal, and the moment that mortality becomes reality, the moment the crown passes, everything he gave Camilla passes into the hands of a man who did not give it, and never would have. William is not going to make a speech about this. He is not going to hold a press conference or issue a statement, or make the kind of dramatic public declaration that gives the palace machine something to manage. He is simply going to begin, quietly, systematically, with the particular, methodical precision that has defined every single move he has ever made, and when he is done, the world that Charles built for Camilla will be gone. This is how it happens. Let me tell you the full inventory. Because to understand what William will remove, you first have to understand what Charles created. The title for Her Royal Highness the Queen, the most significant thing Charles gave Camilla, was also the most contested, against what he had previously told the public that she would be. Princess Consort Charles made Camilla queen when he took the crown. Queen Elizabeth's quiet public endorsement, in her Platinum Jubilee year, paved the institutional road. Charles drove down it the moment he became king. The title is everything. It is the formal acknowledgement that Camilla belongs at the center of the institution, that her position is not provisional, that she is not a guest in the palace, but one of its permanent residents. The residencies, Clarence House, the access to the infrastructure of royal life, the staff, the cars, the security, the resources that come with being the current Queen of England, the patronages. Over 30 organizations carry the royal warrant of Queen Camilla, charities, literary institutions, the causes she has championed, the public role she has built, the informal influence, perhaps the most significant, and the least visible, the access to Charles, the ability to shape decisions, the informal power that a spouse carries inside any institution, when that spouse is the person who controls everything. Charles gave her all of this, and all of it, every piece of it, is conditional on his being king. The title goes first, not through a formal ceremony of removal, not through an announcement, or a decree specifically stripping Camilla of queen status. More simply than that, when Charles dies, William is king. Catherine is queen consort. There is only one queen in a monarchy. At any given time, the title does not carry over, the title does not transfer, the title ceases. What Camilla becomes in its place is one of the most significant decisions of William's early reign. Queen Mother, as Northwire has documented, is not available to her. That title carries too much. Diana's memory, the assumption of being the mother of the future king, neither of which Camilla is. William will decide, and the decision sources close to him are consistent on this, will be something that acknowledges Camilla's connection to Charles without giving her a permanent, weighted, institutionally significant title. In the monarchy William is building something that says, you are, not you are, after the title. The residences, this is where the dismantling becomes most practically visible. Clarence House, the official London residence of the Prince of Wales, is already associated with William and Catherine's future occupancy. It will not remain Camilla's home. The timeline will be managed with the decorum that a period of national mourning requires. Nobody arrives with removal vans in the first weeks, but the framework is already being prepared. Alternative arrangements, private residences, the kind of comfortable, well-appointed life that a former senior royal maintains, but outside the official infrastructure of the working monarchy. Her own, not the institutions. The security arrangements, currently provided at public expense, as befitting the Queen of England, will be reviewed. The staff, the household team, that operates according to her needs and her schedule, will be reassigned. Each one a piece of the world Charles built. Each one quietly, permanently, no longer hers. The patronages will take longer. not because William is uncertain, but because the machinery of royal patronage operates on a different timeline from the machinery of titles and residences. Charities have boards and trustees, and public relationships built around the royal connection. They cannot be reallocated overnight without causing disruption that the palace would prefer to avoid, so William will play the longer game here, over months, over years if necessary. The organizations connected to Camilla, through her royal patronage, will find themselves, gradually, in conversations about transition, about which member of the royal family is best placed to carry their cause forward, about the future of the monarchy, and how their work connects to it. These conversations will be managed carefully, professionally, with the full weight of the palace's institutional authority behind them, and at the end of each one, the patronage will have moved to Catherine, to William himself, to the network of royal purpose that the new king and his Princess of Wales are defining, according to their own vision. Camilla's public role, built over decades, carefully maintained the visible evidence of a woman doing something useful with her extraordinary access, will become historical, a record of what the previous reign chose to support, not a living, active present. The part of the monarchy William is building, the last thing to go, and the hardest to remove, is the informal influence, the ability to be in the room where decisions are made, the access to the person who controls everything, the quiet, undocumented, imparcial officially catalog, power that comes from being the spouse of the king. This is what Camilla has always been most skilled at. Not the formal power, not the titles and the patronages, and the official position, the informal kind, the kind that moves in the shadows, that shapes decisions without announcing itself. That has been, in many ways, the source of everything. That has made her difficult to remove from the institution's center. When Charles dies, that influence dies with him, because informal influence is entirely personal. It does not transfer. It does not survive the person who was its source. Camilla's access to William is not the access she had to Charles. It never has been. It never will be. And without the informal influence, without the ability to shape what happens at the level where real decisions are made, the formal position, even where it persists, is hollow. A title without power, a name without reach, a former queen in a world that has already moved on. There is a word for what William is doing, not revenge, not punishment, not the settling of a personal score, dressed up in the language of institutional reform. The word is correction, the correction of a record that was written incorrectly, the restoration of a history that was managed and shaped and carefully constructed by people with interests to protect. Charles gave Camilla a world built on what he could give. William is building a world based on what was actually true, and in the world that is actually true, Diana was Her Royal Highness, Princess of Wales. Diana was the most beloved royal figure of her generation. Diana was the mother of the future king, who she raised with a deliberate, loving, fully conscious awareness of exactly what she was giving him. And Camilla, whatever Charles gave her, is a person whose position was always, entirely, completely, dependent on one man, who is dying, whose crown is passing, to a son who knows everything, who is prepared for this, since he was 15 years old, who has assembled the case, made the moves, drew the lines, issued the ultimatum, awaited the answer, and who is now mine. In the patient, methodical, impossibly precise way, he does everything, taking it back, not what Charles gave Camilla, what was always going to be Diana's. Drop a comment. Which piece of what Charles gave Camilla do you think William removes first? New video tomorrow. Same time. See you then.